Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Enlightened Intriguing News. Today's interview is sponsored by World Outsourcing Solutions, a company that specializes in helping business owners with outsourcing needs. And I'm very excited about today's interview because I'm speaking to a multi-talented global influencer and a personal brand developer, the expert, Elliot Carl. He's going to be sharing with us about the critical skills every business owner needs to have if you're going to succeed in the personal brand area of your business. Without much ado, I want to welcome you, Elliot, to the show. Hi, Elliot.
Thank you. Hello, how are you?
Very, very well, and thanks again for joining us all the way from New York. What time is it over there now?
Yes, sir, it is actually 9:17 a.m. And thank you
Beautiful.
for having
And here it's a little bit late,
me. Yeah.
gone past 2, and we've been at it, so you're starting the day well.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Incredible. And if you're joining us for the very first, always will bring you some of the most experienced, talented experts out there in the world that are actually doing things or making things happen. And if you haven't subscribed to any of our material, we invite you to go to www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com/podcast for more information. Now,
Awesome.
Elliot, to get us started, I know a lot of people would love to know your background and how you got to be doing what you do today. So, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yes, sir. I started about 10 years ago in an area called Crestview, Northwest Florida. And it's a small area, very retirement area. I'm a military brat, so my parents retired in that portion of the US. And I of course grew up there. And then once I finished high school, I started working with an event planning company, and I tried, all kinds of different things. I tried weddings and corporate events, and we did, birthday parties, and we did some of everything. And with that awareness, I got the opportunity to produce a fashion show, which really sparked my interest as far as building a career. And that experience really helps me in the area to build a strong awareness as far as fashion. And when it came to doing fashion shows or any type of presentations or hair shows or any type of events like that involve style, I was the go-to guy. And so that actually gave me an opportunity to really expand and build something solid. And then so I did that for about a year and a half, 2 years. And then I decided, well, I want to expand myself because I really felt like I had capped in the area, and I really wanted to, build more and learn more for myself. And so I decided that I would just take a trip and go to New York Fashion Week and try to see what I could learn or what I could capture and who I could meet there. And of course, at that time, social media with MySpace was really taking off. And so of course, I had networked and met some people on MySpace and saw that everyone was going to New York for Fashion Week. And I said, well, I want to go and check this thing out. And so I decided to go, and I was sitting outside of the tents one day, and of course, you have to have an invitation to get in. And I didn't know how to get in. And so I asked one of the ladies who was standing outside. She happened to be a publicist, and she said, well, if you want to get in and you want to get involved, you should try volunteering. And so I did that. I came back home and I applied the next season to be a volunteer. And with that experience, my first day working the show, I was working for Michael Kors actually, and they had to fire someone in production, and they were looking for someone to do a quick hire, and they were going through the resumes and saw that I had event planning experience. And so they gave me the opportunity to do that. And I didn't want to take it at first because of the fact that I had really had no formal training in what I was doing. It's just something that I learned, but they said, well, we'll train you and we'll pay you. So I said, well, okay, I'll take the position. And so I did, and I learned the business, and I was really able to network and explore all facets of fashion show production. And really what intrigued me about it the most was the public relations side. And I said, you know what, I think this is the area that I want to go in. And so I decided to network with some people and learn the business on my own. And I did that, and I built my brand, using MySpace, and came up with my logo and all of the, visual elements that we know of as far as branding at that time, and changed my whole page around and fashion publicist, and I did that and got clients. And I mean, it was an awesome story. And so I did that, until 2012, and then I decided to move to Charleston, South Carolina, where I'm located now. And actually, at that time, I decided to go back to school and actually get my degree in this. And I never stopped doing the business. I continued to work and continue to build my brand in all of those areas. But I now have a bachelor's degree in fashion and retail marketing. So now I have the education behind it as well as the experience. So it's been an interesting ride, and I've had the opportunity to work with so many different brands that we know of and so many fashion professionals and magazines and outlets. I mean, it's really been an awesome ride, but all of it has been due to, I would have to say, social media. So it's been an interesting ride for me.
Incredible. What I love about what you've just shared with us is, you had a passion, even though not everything was in line. You started out as a volunteer, and then, of course, that opportunity opened up, and you ended up working with them, as you develop your career. And what is truly remarkable about that is, what you had in mind actually became a reality. And I think the learning point for all people who are listening today is, if you have a goal that you set out to achieve, it doesn't matter how you get started. Maybe you start as a volunteer, just go for it, and eventually you will get to the success that you are dreaming to have and what you are hoping to achieve.
Yes, sir.
Now,
Yes, sir. Awesome.
When you got started, Elliot, talk to us about what it was like to branch out on your own, that personal brand image. What was happening during that time, and how did you manage that?
It was very interesting. Actually, I didn't know anything. That was the thing. Even to piggyback off of what you just said, what was really interesting about that is, all I had was a picture. All I had was a visual. I was reading magazines. I was looking at TV, reality TV was, back then. And so, as far as what it is now, it was really expanding it, and so we were getting this glimpse, because especially in fashion was such an exclusive industry for years. It was very, very private. You didn't see the behind the scenes. You didn't know who the PR people were. You didn't know who the stylists were. You didn't know the editors. All you knew were the models and, maybe some photographers. You knew the designers, but, you didn't really see into their lives. And so the whole behind the scenes of the industry was a very, very private sector. And then because of social media, so MySpace comes on board, and you're meeting all of these stylists and seeing all of these people move and shake behind the scenes that you never saw this stuff before. So it created a lot of interest for a lot of people, I think, to explore different things. And so really for me, because I didn't really know anything at the time, and like I said, coming from an area where there was no fashion market, really, because of social media, I was able to get a picture of what it is that I could do and what opportunities were available that weren't necessarily mainstream at that time. But also to even venture into that is so interesting that today, if I compare it to what it was back then, now these are the positions that everybody wants, and these are the brands that everybody's trying to build their brand as a publicist, or all of the behind the scenes positions that I used to call them, back in the day. Now they're the popular ones that everybody wants to be a part of, only because of, the internet has given us so much access and also information, and we're able to give people, a picture, and give people a play-by-play of our daily lives, because of social media. And so I think, even with that, for me to build my brand from that, a lot of it came because I was able to show people, the behind the scenes of what I was doing. I had a platform now to show the people what all goes into a fashion show production, working with the models, training, writing the press releases, having the media meetings, and all of those elements that come into, the big production that we see that only, may last for, 7 or 8 minutes at a time, for a show. But then you're working for something, 6 and 8 months out that builds into this major production that only lasts, 7 to 10 minutes. And so I think that really became very fascinating for a lot of people, because they were able to get that exclusive access.
Outstanding. Mm-hmm. And you touched a lot of great subjects there, but I want to move very, very quickly into how you got your very first client, given that you were just branching out, on your own then.
Now that was interesting. So with my first client, I actually had a friend. It was a referral. So a referral friend of mine, she connected me with this guy. I went to Orlando, Florida, to do this project for her. It was actually a pageant. I've done a lot of interesting events, but it was actually a pageant for business women. And while we were down there, I was discussing with her that I was really interested in it, building this PR business. And as far as the other side of it, I didn't really know photography. I didn't know web design, graphic design, all of that stuff, but I wanted to have a one-stop shop. So while we're actually talking, her friend is in the room, and he's like, he was in Atlanta, and he just finished doing a photo shoot with a guy who does graphic design and web design and photography. And he was actually looking to partner with someone who had the skills that I had. And so literally he connected us on a conference call, and we talked on the phone. We had never met. We talked on the phone for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and we built a brand called Visual Renaissance Experience 7. We built this company. We filed it, built the website, and actually built a MySpace page for it. And so we specialized in fashion, entertainment, promotions. And so we connected with all of these artists because, of course, MySpace music was taking off at that time. So you had all of these indie artists that were trying to get their music out there and needed, promotion and marketing. And so we advertised that, we would promote your music and create your advertisements and do things like that. And then we would also promote your fashion shows and events. And so really, we used our MySpace page to build this following of over almost 100,000 people. And then we built a website. And at that time, a platform called Ning was around. Facebook wasn't what it is now, but we built another platform called Ning that was very similar to Facebook, where you could sign up and join as a member, but you would be our members on our site, and you could have your own profile. And that way you could promote to our audience that we captured for you. And within 1 month's time, we had built an audience of over 50,000 people, even on that. And so then we decided, okay, we were doing it for free, and it was working, but we were doing it just to build our brand. And then we said, okay, we've got to start charging for this. And so even though it was an actual company, we were just using our own resources and working, the jobs that we were working, on the side to build it, and we were investing in it. And then we decided to turn it over and saw where we could make income off of the services that we were providing. And so that was really interesting. And so after that, it just really, really took off. And so we had an audience of music and fashion people, from there. But we were able to do that from a conference call.
Incredible. Just building an audience back then is truly outstanding, given that our social media was not as it is today. It really is outstanding. And now that you've been in business for 10 years, how do you market your business?
Interestingly, I still use the same concept. I don't really, people always laugh at me because I always say I don't really do a whole lot of marketing, but when it's easy, brand is a personal brand. So when it comes to me for myself, it's just easy because whatever I do is marketing. And I always tell people, as far as branding, people often think that, or a logo is your brand, or that's your brand image, or, your brand statement is your brand. That's your brand statement. Branding really encompasses everything that you say and do. And I really believe that when it's personal, everything that you say and do is also, marketing, because people are always looking, people are always watching. And I believe that, as you move, I'm really big about movement. And I often teach that, people are looking for a movement, and they'll never be able to join yours if you don't start moving. And so I just believe that when you know what your brand is, and you're sure of who you are as a brand, then you'll be able to dictate every that you make, and it will actually send out a marketing message as it relates to your brand, because it's something that you own. It's actually a part of who you are. So, your social media, there's a message there. People are able to look and see, what's awesome about you, what's different about you, what is it that I can come to you for, what do people know you for? Because they used to say that, it's all about who you know. I think now not so much who you know, but it's who knows you and what they know you for.
Outstanding, absolutely. And in my business, is covering what you've just covered there, it's really truly about who knows me, because I may know in this business owners and our audience today, the person that actually is going to make a real difference for you and your business are the people that knows you. So, as you build your personal brand, people become aware of what you do, who you represent, and, your beliefs, your ethos, and what you represent, really. And they will begin to find you on the internet, or will start using your services and many things like that.
Yes.
Staying in business for 10 years is no joke, really, because I've done it, and you are faced with a lot of challenges coming your way. How, what is your personal motivation, that keeps you going when things are not going so well?
People is everything for me. My brand statement again is bring people for global influence. So the fact that I'm able to influence even just one person on a daily basis is it's what keeps me going. Just as you said, it's very difficult. I have days where I'm very discouraged. I have days where I'm like, I'm gonna go get a job at McDonald's, but I could never do that, because this is my passion. And what really gets me up every day is knowing that there's somebody who needs what I have. There's somebody who's looking for me. When I wake up in the morning, I have a whole text list from clients who have thought about things during the night, and they're like, I need this, let's talk about this today, let's go over this today, and they really, I've been blessed to have a clientele that have even said to me, I can't do this without you. And so understanding that what you have, you've been given to really, you've been trusted with people's vision, you've been trusted with their ideas, you've been trusted with their dreams, and to know that you have the ability to make dreams happen, you have the ability to make the invisible visible, is very powerful. And I think it's something to cherish. Of course, it comes with its ups and downs. That's life, and there are things that we have to work with. But at the end of the day, when you count the successes that are in it, and when you look at the results that are there, I think it helps you get through. It does.
Outstanding. Really outstanding. Well, Elliot, we've covered a lot of great information already, but I want to take you to that subject, which I know audience are really itching to get to know about, and that's the subject of branding. If a business owner wants to start developing their own brand, what would you suggest to be the very first thing they need to do?
Things about you personally, and that's number one, your personality, and also your attitude, because people like to connect with people. And again, we're inundated with messages. We are inundated. Everybody has something to say on the day. We have commercials, we just have so many messages. And so the thing is, but people really, if you look at personal brands, if you even look at Beyonce, if you look at all of these pop stars, and even the way that pop culture has gone as far as the music industry, and people are now becoming their own brands and getting into car endorsements and fashion endorsements and all kinds of things. And the reason why that is because people want to have a person behind the product. And I think that one of the things that people set out to do, they have an awesome product. But the difference between great businesses and great brands is great businesses, there are many great businesses, and they just have products. They focus on products. They have great products. But great brands have personality, they have attitude, they have value, and they have belief. And I think that if you can define what your personality is, what your attitude is, why people value you, and why people should believe in you, I think that's a recipe for success right there.
Outstanding. Truly outstanding. And in your opinion, why is this necessary? Really, truly, that they do this as their first priority?
It's necessary because it's such a competitive market, because now due to the internet, especially, most people, when they start out personal branding, they're going to start out with, in my experience, everyone, when they think of branding, immediately everyone goes to, oh, I have a brand because I have a logo. Well, that's not necessarily the case, just because you have this image, but is it memorable? And so I think when you add I actually teach, when you add those components that I just spoke of, you give it a personality, you give it something that people can, you give it a tangibility, you give it something that people can connect with on an emotional level, on a psychological level, and that actually helps people move with it, other than just it being another picture or something else they scroll through. Let's just say you're using social media as your distribution channel, it's going to be something that people pass by, but what does it mean to people when they see it? And so you have to to differentiate yourself, to separate yourself in the market. You really have to have a meaning to what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're putting out, what it is that you're saying, or what it is that you're selling.
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm liking the way you're breaking it so easily and putting them into such small chunk or understandable stages. Let's move on to the second critical brand development skill. In your opinion, you consider the business owners needs to develop.
Mm-hmm. The second thing, you have to have influence. And so I always say that belief and value is where influence is derived from. And so one of the things, you have to also know your influence and who you're influencing, because a lot of people, they start out and they just want to capture, they say, oh, I want to know, I want to influence women, or I want women to be my audience. Well, what kind of woman? What is she? Who is she? Why that particular type of woman? And so I think you really have to be able to develop a target for your influence, but that's going to come once you know what your value and your belief is. Then you'll know who you can channel that influence to.
Outsourcing. Outstanding. And Elliot, you're touching a very important aspect about knowing who you are influencing. In business, we talk about niching or doing a proper profiling of the target market, or the thing that you're doing. When it comes to branding, where do you see the maximum effect of doing what you just said?
I would say both online and I would say in person. One of the things that I teach is, because everybody has something to say, and going back to, and I know I've echoed that throughout this interview, but it really is something to keep in mind. But that's okay. But the thing about it is, you also have to listen twice as much as you talk. And so one of the things that I've said to a lot of people, just take Twitter, for example. In my consultations, people say, well, I don't use Twitter. I don't know what to say. I don't know who's going to listen to me. Well, you won't know if you don't start talking. But the thing is, once you start talking, start listening to who's responding and what they're responding to you for, because a lot of times you don't have to really figure out where your influence is. Those who you're influencing, they will tell you. And so one of the things, going back to what we were talking earlier about movement, once you start moving with your brand, once you start moving at what you think is valuable and what you think is believable, then those who are believing in it and those who value it, they'll start speaking back to you. They'll start reaching out to you. They'll start letting you know, hey, this is awesome. Hey, I heard that you said this. Hey, I really like this product. And then you'll know, and then you can build a profile from that. But you have to begin to pay attention. That's why I said one of the things that's important. You have to pay attention to your influence and where is it coming from, because that will tell you, this is the focus group that I need to have.
Outstanding. Truly outstanding. We are just running out of time. I know there are some other important aspects when it comes to brand development that I'm sure you're aware of. Is there one aspect of that you strongly feel business owners in our audience would do well to know that I have not asked you about?
Yes, the biggest thing is be authentic. Authenticity, again, is powerful, and is so essential today. With one of the sad things, the downside for me with social media is because it can become such a monkey see, monkey do. It can become such a copycat platform. You see this person doing it, so you can do it, but it may not necessarily work for you. So I think the best thing to do is to find your place of authenticity, find your niche of authenticity, and then maximize on being authentic, maximize on your difference, and that way you'll be able to know that what you have is actually something that you built off of you, and not what someone else is doing. And I just think that that's what really sets people apart nowadays, because everybody can do the same thing that we see in our timeline, or we read on our Twitter feed, or we hear on Snapchat, or whatever our platforms are that we use, or commercials or anything like that. But the creativity aspect really is powerful when you're authentic.
Absolutely. The thing I've discovered, I'm glad I discovered this really earlier on in my business life, being authentic, because, people have got this inbuilt non-BS system in them, to the point that if you're not being authentic, people will see past all these things that you can build around yourself.
Yeah.
And the
Yes.
easiest way to win trust and create long-lasting friendship and clients, for that matter, is by being authentic. And if you're
Yeah.
authentic, the people that resonate with you will be attracted to you. And when
That's
they're attracted to you, you get to do business with them. And on the other hand, if you're not authentic, you may fool people for a short period of time, but soon you're going to get found out. And when they
that's
find you
right.
out, they're not going to come back to do business with you ever again. And you've just lost, a potential person who will be referring your services and your
Hmm.
businesses, and to others, their friends, family, and their acquaintances. So again,
Right.
be authentic in what you're doing. It may be difficult in the beginning, but you will certainly see the results of what you're doing.
That's correct.
Now, Elliot, I know you've got some amazing programs going on there. Would you talk to our audience about what you have to offer?
Yes, we just launched with Western Carlyle Inclusive. So that's my newest platform that I just launched with my business partner, Michael Weston, in June of this year. And so, it's a one-stop shop. And what we pride ourselves on being is an all-inclusive branding, marketing, creative directions, and public relations service. And one of the ways that we do that is by becoming a temporary leadership team, but permanent partner with companies. And so people will bring us in to shift their brands or to help build their brands. And then we build it with such a structure that you're able to then bring in another team or bring your existing team in to carry it forward. And so our brand statement is we carry influence. And so if you're a brand that's looking to take off, or if you're a brand that's already in flight and looking to change direction, then we're the ones that you want to come to.
Beautiful, incredible. And where can people find you, Elliot?
They can find me on my personal site at www.elliottcarlyle.net or at www.weston, Weston, Carlyle, Carlyleinc.com.
Beautiful. Incredible. I like the way you share that, because it's quite clear. And again, that address will be found at the bottom of this recording when you visit this recording later on. Uh, if you were to go back, I mean, if you were to do what you do now, you start all over again.
Mhm.
Knowing what you know now, what would you do different?
I would definitely charge what I'm worth. That's been one of the biggest things you'll find for those of you who are out there who are building their brands and starting out as new entrepreneurs. Financing, setting your prices and charging what you're worth is one of the tough areas. But as I've grown, I've really learned that, if you don't demand it, people won't pay it. So that's one of the things I wish I would have known, from the beginning. But especially when you really built something that's successful and had the longevity, that I've had, you just learn those things. And today nothing is free in this world. So that's been something that I really look back and I'm like, man, I see a lot of projects. I'm like, I really didn't charge what I was worth. However, I don't have any regrets, I will say, because the experiences gave me everything that I needed to be here at this point.
Incredible. And thanks again for being here with us. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Elliot, sharing with us some of the nuggets about building your personal brand and necessary skills that you need to develop as a business owner if you are to succeed. Once again, thank you so much, Elliot, for a great interview today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity.
Excellent. And if you want to get in touch again with Elliot, visit that website, www.elliottcarlyle.net. That's ELLIOTCARIYLE.net, and you'll be able to reach out to him. Here's the thing that I've learned about experts we get to interview over and over again is they are willing to share with you because they understand that if you succeed, they too will succeed. So reach out to them. Really, it's amazing. Successful people are constantly looking for people they can help and teach. When I started, I thought successful people were so busy to want to help me. But on the contrary, when you reach out to experts like Elliot or many other experts we've interviewed during these programs, you will discover that all of them, if not all of them, but 99% of them will be willing to help you. So be proactive, make things happen. You can either have excuses or results and have both at the same time. So if I were you, and this is what I always do, is if I want something, just keep going for it. You will get it, and get mentors, get coach, to the point where you want to be. With that said, I want to wish you a great day. Any outsourcing needs, you know where to find them, www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com for more information about that. Thanks again. Have a wonderful day. I look forward to be with you on the next episode of Enlightened Entrepreneur. This is Yeukai Business Show. Goodbye, everyone. Thanks, Elliot.